Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Rooted Lifestyle Podcast. We are your hosts, Camryn and Justus Woods.
Yes, welcome back to episode 8 of the Rooted Lifestyle Podcast.
Yes, sir. So if you're watching us and not listening to us, you see that we're in a completely different setup and we're laying in bed. And that,
why are we laying in bed?
I was about to say.
We're doing our best Drake and Bobby impression. You know how their interview was sitting in a bed?
Yeah, we're just trying to be like them, actually.
Maybe we'll get as many followers as
I don't think so. Completely different style podcast, but their podcast is hilarious. You should watch them. Anyway, so we are laying in bed because it fits the vibe of what we're talking about, which is sleep.
Sleep. And what about sleep?
Just how important it is and what can happen to your body if you don't get it. It is just probably one of the most important parts of health and your well-being, and many of the things that can happen if you don't get enough of it are like deteriorating your health mentally, physically. I know some people can get more anxious or struggle more from depression if you're not sleeping and all those good things. So we're excited to talk about it.
Not good things.
Yeah, true. That's not a good thing. So never mind. Those are not good things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is, like you said, it's one of the more important topics that we're covering just because how important sleep is to your body. And I know that for people who have like demanding jobs or a lot more responsibility, it can be hard to get the proper amount of sleep. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit, just covering ways and tactics for, morning and nighttime routines in order to help optimize your sleep, whether it's your I don't know, like what are some examples? I guess like mothers who have to stay up like with their children who are crying and stuff like that, or you're a doctor and you're working certain shifts and stuff. Just basically tools to help you to sleep better.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you're on the podcast because you have your own story / journey of sleeping or lack thereof.
I don't want to be a hypocrite and sit here and say that I have the perfect sleep schedule because I don't. I probably have like one of the worst sleep schedules, but I think, learning from you and doing our research this week, I've learned about the importance of sleep, and I've actually started to incorporate some of the stuff that we've done. So some of this stuff that we're going to talk about, we've done before. You've done a lot of it. I'm starting to do some of it. So I'm new as well. So kind of walking through this and trying to understand it for myself is something that I've tried to push myself to do more because sleep is very important. Yes,
absolutely. And so it's actually fascinating because of the amount of research that we've been doing.
Yeah.
I have been implementing so many things. I'm like, Justice, let's try to do this. And we'll get into the nitty gritty part of that later in the episode. Yeah. But we also want to reiterate that we are not doctors. So take everything we say with a grain of salt, kind of, but not really. I mean, we did research.
Yeah, we'll inform you on what we learned through legitimate doctors and different studies and stuff. But ultimately, it's up to you. Like, it's your whatever works best for you. Everybody's different. We're not saying that these are the tools. If you put them to practice exactly, then you'll have 100% optimal sleep. Like these are tactics that we've learned and that you've learned and applied to your life that have helped benefit you, along with some research that we've done as well.
Definitely. And so if there's things that you're not really sure about, do your own research, or as always, consult your doctor before doing anything that's like crazy. I don't think we talk about anything that's like
out of
you need
completely,
to consult your doctor.
I don't think anything that we're talking about is like, if you don't do this the right way, or if you do it, it's going to like negatively affect you.
Right. No. Oh my goodness. Everything that we say is just to benefit. We know that we have been implementing these things and they have benefited us, and they've benefited other people through research and studies and things like that. So we just want to tell you guys about it and have a conversation just about things to get better sleep, because that's one thing that we do not get and we don't treat it right.
Exactly. So with that being said, let's dive into it a little bit. So kind of just to start, we want to talk about what exactly happens when when you do sleep. So what exactly happens to your brain and your body. And because we're not biologists, we're not going to get too much into detail, but sleep is an incredibly complex and intricate system, and it affects all different parts of your body, all different systems of your body. And there's no actual one reason why humans need sleep. And it's one of the most enduring questions in health science, actually.
You told me that, and I was like, hold on, that's not true, because I have been told my entire life of like, okay, if you're sick, you need to sleep. Okay, if you have surgery, you need to sleep and heal because your body's healing while you sleep.
Well, yeah, like with that, I mean is that there's no one real biological purpose, because there's numerous biological benefits. So you can't pinpoint and say, this is the exact reason why the human body needs sleep. It's because of A.
Got it.
Because there's so many different benefits to so many different systems in your body that it can't just be pinpointed into like one
It's your whole body.
area.
That's why you need sleep.
Yeah. So the Sleep Foundation states that an average adult should be getting roughly 7 to 9 hours of sleep.
Do you get those?
No, I do not get those.
I do.
We'll go into a little bit about personal stories. Yes, I understand. 7 to 9 hours.
Sorry, this is not just to make you feel
and
bad.
even some
I'm
people out there, like I will be one to say, I'm like, oh wow, like 7 to 9 hours. That's crazy. And some people are like, oh, I get that every day. Other people, it's like I can't. With my job.
Yeah, your job is not
with
possible.
my children, I can't do it. But
you have kids?
I'm speaking for the people. I hope not.
Not that I know of.
I hope not. Anyway,
Conversation for another time. Anyways.
Yeah. So adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Like babies and children need a lot more. I think teenagers are like 10 to 12. Infants can be upwards of 16 hours. So obviously the younger you are, the more your body needs to develop and the more sleep that you need.
Hilarious because teenagers don't get sleep.
I found that so interesting. And I know we talked about this the other day, that just like the fact that teenagers are like that age group needs probably like the most sleep besides like infants and stuff. And yet, you know, you wake up early, you go to school, you have like practices after school late at night, you're staying up and it's like doing
talking
homework.
to your friends on FaceTime.
Yeah, and
pretending
it's
like you're cool, talking to all the boys at night.
Wow. Are you speaking from experience here?
No. Oh, I just hit my head. Absolutely not. Okay. Anyways, I need to stop.
Okay. Well, there are two major processes that go into your body for sleep and wakefulness. So the two processes are the homeostatic process and the circadian process. And this is all information from the Yale School of Medicine. So the homeostatic process is basically the buildup of adenosine in your body. And it's basically described as the currency by which your brain measures your time awake. So the longer you're awake during the day, the more adenosine is built up into your brain. And that's the thing that makes you more tired. And there are certain things like caffeine, like so when you drink coffee in the morning or in midday, those drinks are actually adenosine receptor blockers.
Blockers, yeah.
So they basically block your ability to feel the effects of the adenosine buildup in your body.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And so during sleep, adenosine levels are reduced in the brain. So when you're sleeping, you want the homeostatic process to be kind of at the low point. Do you want to talk about the circadian process, or do you want me to take it?
Yeah. So circadian process is also known as the circadian rhythm. That's how I know it. And it is orchestrated mainly by your brain's production of the hormone melatonin. And I don't think that I had remembered that melatonin is a hormone. It's not just like a supplement necessarily. We make it naturally and all these crazy things.
Like some people may have heard of the supplement melatonin, because I know that I didn't know before that melatonin was produced in your brain as the hormone that's produced in your brain. I just thought of it as like a supplement that you take to help sleep.
Yeah, you were popping it every night. But it's okay. We'll get into that later.
We'll get into that later as well.
Yes, but really cool about melatonin and all those things and how it's naturally produced. But according to the Yale School of Medicine, within a 24-hour cycle, your best chance of falling asleep and the best quality of sleep will occur when your sleep drive is high. So that's the homeostatic process. And when your circadian levels of alertness are low.
So that's your circadian process. So you want your homeostatic process to be high, circadian process to be low.
Makes sense.
And this podcast will be an episode of how to like maintain your sleep in a world where, you know, your circadian rhythm is thrown off and everything.
Yes.
And I know that we had talked about this a lot the other day, just about how, you know, there's a bunch of like new age things like TV and stuff that with like different types of light that can throw off your circadian rhythm. And, you know, you were saying before how humans, we used to wake up to the sun, go to bed when the sun would set.
Yeah, just think about before our society got to the way that it was.
Yeah.
People back in the day, thousands of years ago, woke up with the sun, went to bed when the sun was down. And so it's just fascinating how our society has been like, no, I'm a night owl. I'm going to stay up till 3 a.m. and call it healthy because I sleep till noon. And it's just like your circadian rhythm is whack. It's wacky. And I understand that people do have sleep disorders. So that is all. Take this with a grain of salt, because if you have a sleep disorder, we're not here to be like, this will fix your sleep disorder 100%.
Exactly. But sleep disorders are a process of a thrown off like circadian and homeostatic process. Like
Yes.
those processes are thrown off.
Right.
And it's like, we'll talk about this too, but just the idea of what you were saying before, like waking up when the sun rises, going to bed when the sun is set, that your body needs that. Like animals do it, like their circadian rhythm.
Right.
And if that gets thrown off, it can affect your sleep and create sleep disorders.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so apologies if we went into a little bit too much detail there, but I think it's important to understand exactly what happens in your brain and body, because
It's all connected.
you know exactly what hormones or what systems to target for these like routines that Camryn and I are going to go over that will help optimize your sleep.
Absolutely. And so we're going to talk about just the ways, like we said before, that we have found that help, or just ways that research has studied this might help you sleep better. But do understand that everyone's body is different. I mean,
Exactly.
we are all biologically made up the same, like with a circadian rhythm, we all produce melatonin, like all these types of things, but there's just ways that you can help your sense of sleep.
Exactly. And there's a bunch of external factors too that some people have, other people don't. So like we said before, like we're not saying implement these routines and they're going to 100% help you, but they can't hurt you. And I think that's the important thing.
Yes, 100% agree. Because people might hear this and be like, well, that's dumb, I don't want to try it. And then another person might be like, I have gone to every doctor, nothing has worked. Let me try this and see if it helps. Because what's the harm? None of this is going to hurt you. It's only to benefit you. So we're excited.
And I'm excited as well because, you know, I've had a history of not sleeping well, not getting enough sleep. So anything that would help me to improve that would help just optimize my day and stuff. And I know that even in the little time that we started practicing this stuff, I've actually felt a difference in how I've felt and the energy that I have throughout the day.
You've been saying that, but definitely let's talk about your work schedule, because your work schedule this week has been different than it has been in the past. You've been able to get more sleep, but yeah, talk about that for a little bit. Yeah.
And I think, you know, I think I had mentioned this in the first podcast episode that I'm a consultant. For those of you who don't know, consultants work very, very long hours. Probably very in a given day, it's 15 hours. So that means for me, of course, I love working out, and I always prioritize working out. I always prioritize reading my Bible in the morning. So typically a normal day, wake up around 4:30, 5 in the morning, read my Bible, go work out for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, come home, like eat breakfast, take my vitamins and supplements.
Yes, love that.
And then go to work around like 9.
It's a good start. It's a good day.
Yeah. And I don't end that day till probably like 11 or 12.
I would say that's a good average.
Like 11. Yeah.
11's a good average.
11's about a good average. So if you do the math there, that's not that many hours of sleep before getting up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning.
No, there was a period of time where you got 4 hours
probably
of
like
sleep.
4 hours of sleep.
3.5 to 4 hours of sleep every night. And I was like, dude, the bags under your eyes, I think they're permanently there and they're not going to go away. But no, I'm just kidding. It was, I mean, you have to, and you prioritize work, which is great. And now we're starting to prioritize sleep and also do a great job with work. So it's a hard balance.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it's some people are like, well, why don't you just get the sleep? Why don't you just go to bed early? And I know because I'm one of them, you have different responsibilities. I can't just say, oh, no, I'm going to bed.
Right. And so people might say, why don't you just sleep in instead of working out? What would you say to that?
See, that's a hard trade-off because I feel like I have not done this like study in terms of the weighing the risks and rewards. Obviously, sleep is very, very, very important, but also physical activity is very, very, very important. So if I'm not able to wake up in the morning and do those workouts, I may not be able to get my workout in the day.
Can I give my unprofessional opinion on that?
Yeah.
So obviously we've talked about physical well-being. That's very, very important.
Yeah.
But when we were going through like that month of you getting 4 hours of sleep, I was just internalizing, and I think I talked to you about it once, but I was like, he just needs to work out like 4 days a week or 3 days a week, because you're still getting physical activity and sleep is so important. And you definitely felt the effects of not sleeping months after that as well.
No, 100%.
So you saw that it caught up to you, but I also understand and I respect how disciplined you are with working out and exercise, and you're doing it for yourself and you're doing it because you enjoy it. You're not doing it for anyone else. So I respect it. Yeah. It's just, it's hard.
I think it's crazy. I think during that time it was funny because I had watched a video or I think, on sleep, and it was talking about how people who have the least amount of sleep, you experience this thing like right before you're teetering off the edge of just like pure insanity of like, you're so like clear of thought, but it's almost like a narcissistic, like, you know, those thought, people like who have like, no, like narcissist, like they have such like clear minded thoughts and ideas and like but it's out of like complete narcissism. And that's like kind of the point, because honestly, when you're sleeping, I've told you this, when you're having like 4 hours of sleep constantly, when you get more hours of sleep than that, I actually felt worse.
Yes, you have said that.
So your body's in a state of like sleep deprivation.
So confused.
And you actually, it may seem like your body's fine. You're having all these clear thoughts and ideas, but they actually said that's a sign that you're moving down the wrong track. So if you're feeling fine with having 4 hours of sleep every day, that's not a good thing at all. And it took me a little bit of time in order to get my body back from that, of like getting more of the 7 to 9 hours of sleep. But all this to say is that I will raise my hand and say that I've not been the best person to prioritize my sleep. And you know that. I'm sure people who know us know that.
But I mean, you can't. Besides not working out is the only thing you could do to fix it.
Exactly. Well, there are little things that like routines that you were saying that can kind of help.
True. Get your body ready for sleep.
Get my body ready for sleep.
Yes.
And I think that's the important thing. So with that being said, do you want to talk about your nighttime routine? Because you have a crazy nighttime routine.
Not really. And you've implemented a lot of it too.
Yeah.
But I love routines at night. And it's just really cool to signal to your body the specific things you do once you build up a habit. And your body's like, okay, it's time to start winding down.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we have started to implement are walks at night, specifically after dinner and before the sun is setting.
Yeah.
So we were listening to a podcast by Andrew Huberman, and he was talking all about sleep. And he talked about when the sun is so close to the horizon, the neurons in the eyes that go to the nervous system signal your circadian clock that it's the end of the day and it's time to start winding down. So it's all about the neurons in the eyes, which is fascinating to me.
Yeah. And
fascinating.
There were studies that showed that viewing sunlight within like an hour of sunset actually protects the brain and body against the negative effects of light later in the day. So
when you're staring at your phone.
So basically what that means,
bed.
like 5 to 10 minute walk outside, looking at the sun.
Not staring at it,
obviously, because that's why it's like roughly an hour
right.
to sunset. So in a light setting where you can get those yellow and blues that come, yellow and blue rays that come from the sun, in a setting where you don't have to wear sunglasses, so like actually getting that purely into your eye sockets. Again, not just staring at the sun,
Please
but
don't.
just getting
You'll harm your eyes.
Yeah, it could actually help your body get into that state of kind of like winding down and protect you against the negative effects of looking at the TV when you get back, looking at your phone, all those things.
And it's really cool because, a side note, not even really about sleep, well, kind of, but walking after a big meal helps aid digestion. And so have you guys ever gone to sleep and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm so stuffed, I can't even sleep? Yeah. Well, walking after dinner is going to alleviate that, which is great.
We did walks before for a digestive purpose, not for a sleep purpose.
Now we're doing it for the neurons in the eyes.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that's been really cool. And so once we get back from our walks, I've always been very skeptical about like phones and TVs, but of course, if we're not like talking or playing games at night, like we want to watch TV. Like we're watching Love Island right now, woohoo! But we're watching like Love Island or a movie or something like that, or we're just on our phone, like texting, scrolling through things, whatever. So I have really tried, when I step inside from our nighttime walk, I put on my blue light glasses. Yeah, and you have blue light blockers in your glasses.
I do.
So
I invested in those, and they've honestly helped me throughout the day as well. Not only
staring at the screen all day,
not only just for night, but it helps reduce the strain that it have on my eyes, and it would just make my eyes very heavy if I didn't wear those blue light glasses. Like I really did see a difference, and it's very important to have those blue light blockers, because that blue light, it suppresses your secretion of melatonin.
Yes, it does, which is so scary. And one of the really cool things about your phone and a TV is that if you have to be on your laptop, phone, TV, anything, dim it down. Dim down the brightness as far down as you can go while still seeing it and like while still being able to function. And that will also alleviate the blue light from going into your eyes. Like the glasses are not the end all be all, but they're going to help 100%. So that's really cool. And it's going to get your mind kind of winded down a little bit more. And then there's also a setting on your phone that I used to implement. I don't really do it anymore. But if I triple click, I set my phone to where if I triple click the home screen, it goes to red. So it's taken 100% of the blue light out of my phone. Yeah. And honestly, I was doing that just so I would stop scrolling on social media at night, because that's not going to help me fall asleep and I just need to go to bed instead. But it takes out all the fun from scrolling on your phone. And so I only would use my phone if I was texting someone. Like if they needed me, like, or called me or something, I would always answer, and I would just have my red thing on. So that really, really helps. So we love the blue light glasses when we get in from the walk, and we love dimming down all of our screens. We haven't dimmed down the TV. We need to work on that one.
No, we haven't.
I don't know why it's like not easy.
You've not only did the dim light on your phone, but you don't even bring your phone into the bedroom anymore, which is something that I admire, because I still do bring my phone.
So that's like a whole thing that we'll get into, like waking up later. But I have recently been not having my phone in the bedroom because also I don't have a job like right early in the morning where I have to be awake. So I'm never stressed about waking up. I have my hatch.
Your hatch, but you don't have like a physical sound alarm that like blares in your ears to force you to wake up.
So I have my sweet little hatch alarm clock, which we'll talk about it with morning routine, but it like wakes me up very politely and all these things. So not only do I not have my phone blasting electronic horrible sounds in my ears, but it's not even in the room. And so that helps me to not be on it at night. So when I'm in the bedroom, I'm like, okay, lights are off, or on my hatch, I have my red light setting.
Yeah.
So it's not like a blue light, really bright light. I have that on and it's great. But with light, if I don't have my phone in here, if I'm not watching TV, just like read a book. Wind your body down a little bit that way if that helps you. Some people say that reading a book really jars them and like makes them more wired, but I'm like, okay, just read like the Bible. Like read something that's not going to be like, oh my gosh, wake you up and like don't read a murder mystery. Anyways, another thing that I love that Justus absolutely has no interest in, which is fine, is skincare.
Yeah, so I don't have I have a decent skincare routine.
You used to literally wash your face with like a dial bar of soap, and it was so strange, but
my skin looks great though.
It does. It looks good. I can't even lie. But I love doing like a little nighttime routine of just double cleansing my face, doing my gua sha.
Your what?
My gua sha.
What is a gua sha?
It's the stone that you say this every night. I like sculpt my face, and all it is doing is giving you a lymphatic drainage. Like it's just taking the excess water out of your face, so it gives you a more like toned look, whatever. But
sounds like a form of like karate.
Well, I'm not doing karate because that would wake me up, not put me to sleep. And then sometimes we do a face mask and sometimes red light therapy in bed. But another thing that I love doing, if I'm doing my red light therapy, I love putting my feet up on the wall, literally right here. Like I'll turn around and put my feet up on the wall.
I'll come in and she'll just be like inverted.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just hanging out. Like it's so good. But there is actually science behind feet on the wall. It is so cool. But if you think about it, you are on your feet all hours of the day. Yeah. You're either sitting or standing and like your feet are below you. So it's really cool to do the reverse of that. And it's actually a yoga pose. I don't particularly know like the name behind it, but it's a yoga pose and it is really good for your circulation. So if you have circulatory issues, 100% do this. It also, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest system in your body. And so it's stimulating a relaxing state of mind. And it also has been known to help with digestion. I don't know if that's like a factual thing, but if you struggle with digestion and you want to relax the rest of the night,
it can't hurt to try. I mean, you're not going to destroy your digestion from putting your feet up on the wall.
Right, absolutely. So then the next thing is, well, you can't do the feet up on the wall and this next thing. Okay, it's drinking bone broth or
as your feet are up, just pour the hot tea in your face.
No, it's really funny. I've actually tried to do it before and I just like sit my head up and I'm like sipping my thing and then I spilled it before and I had to change the sheets. But I don't do that anymore. I learned the hard way. So take it from me. Don't do both. Do one at a time. Anyways, so bone broth. So I do bone broth instead of tea because I just don't love tea. I don't know why, but I want something warm.
What is bone broth for those of people who don't know? It's essentially like it's the actual bone marrow. It's like
of a chicken
the
or
liquid
whatever.
version of bone marrow.
Yeah.
Bone marrow is said to have so many different types of health effects. We have bone broth protein powder that we love.
Yes, we do. Ancient nutrition. Let's go.
So it's basically the bone marrow of animals.
It was like, so it takes
like the liquid,
days, because you can make it your own.
Liquefaction.
Liquidation. How do you say that word?
I don't know.
We sound dumb. Okay. You're smart. I am. I'm dumb. Anyway, so yes, bone broth is so healthy for you. It is like the main creator of glutathione, which goes into your gut and is the master antioxidant for your body. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, I'm calming down my system by ingesting like a warm drink. It's really soothing. And then I'm also getting glutathione in my gut, which is going to help with digestion. It's going to help my stomach lining and it's going to antioxidize, if that's even a word, my body. And also one of the amino acids that makes the glutathione is glycine. And that promotes healthy sleep patterns. That's been studied and can promote healthy sleep patterns. So all of these people nowadays are like, drink bone broth before you go to bed. It also is very high in protein. So if you're one of those people who care a lot about protein collagen,
before bed,
yes,
that has numerous effects on just the recovery of your muscles. Like after working out, if you're trying to gain more muscle mass, it's shown that having protein before bed, like a more lean protein, obviously like having carbs before bed is maybe not the best, but protein actually helps you build those muscles like as you're sleeping. Yeah. And your body's really dehydrated as you're sleeping for hours of the day. And so I'm not going to wake up and chug water or like bone broth, but I don't know. I just like the thought of drinking something that's very soothing, tastes good. Dr. Kellyanne's roasted chicken bone broth is my go-to. It's a little bit expensive, but it is literally one of the only bone broths that I can find in the stores that don't have all this crap in it. Yeah. Every type of bone broth has so many toxic ingredients in it. And so just do your research, read. That is my suggestion. I love Dr. Kellyanne's. It's my fave. Trying to get Justus to drink it, but you don't really have an interest in it, do you? No, maybe after this podcast. True. We're trying to make him. Okay, next one is room temperature. You want to talk about that? Yeah. So we put our room at what, about 68, 69 degrees? Yeah. And a fan. Yeah. Because we don't want to be hot when we sleep. Obviously, obviously I get hot. I get very hot when I sleep. But there's also fascinating science behind it. So you want to lower your core body temperature to activate the release of the hormone melatonin that we've been talking about. So your body drops 1 to 3 degrees, right? When you're sleeping. When you're sleeping, your body drops about 1 to 3 degrees. So you want to help promote that and to help kind of produce as much melatonin as you can before you sleep. Absolutely. Because you don't want to take it artificially. You want your body to naturally produce what it's made to produce. Exactly. And because because melatonin is a hormone, there have been some studies that have shown that actually doing supplements of melatonin may not be the best, especially for children. Yes. Just because it can block the hormones that help with the production of things in puberty. Right. Messing with hormones is a sticky situation. Yeah. So if you can help it, I mean, obviously it's different person by person. I've used melatonin before. It's not the end of the world if you use melatonin. Right. You're not going to die. Obviously, yeah. Unless you overdose on it, which you can't because it's a hormone. But we'll talk about other supplements you can do maybe in another podcast because we have a lot to say about that. But melatonin, if you're taking it every single night to fall asleep, maybe steer clear of that and try these other natural things that we've been talking about. A natural way to help your body produce what it already does, like what you were saying. Correct. So another way that we try to naturally produce it is the lack of light in our room. So blackout curtains or no bright lights, no night lights, no anything. Or wearing an eye mask. Yes, if you don't have access to blackout curtains, because obviously that costs money, and if you don't have the money to spend on it, get an eye mask. Or I know people that just sleep with an eye mask because they need the darkness, which makes sense. We're supposed to sleep in dark. Exactly. You can't sleep with lights on. And so it's just signaling to your body that it's time to sleep. And so even in the middle of the night, if you wake up and it's pitch black dark, you're going to have a better time going to sleep. But also if you wake up, look at your phone to check the time, go to the bathroom, turn on this huge bright light, you're signaling to the neurons in those eyes again that it's time to wake up. So it may take you a really long time to fall back asleep. Yeah. Which is scary. So just try to limit the amount of light close to bedtime. Yep. In the middle of the night when you wake up. Try to limit it as much as you can. Absolutely. So going into what we talked about before is how do you implement this when you have a busy schedule? Because it's hard to do every single night. Doing what we listed about 5 or 7 things. Yeah, I think it's doing that every single night, and you don't even do all of them every single night every day. No, you don't. But you can 100% pick and choose the ones that you want. I do think the most important are light. Yes, I agree. Blocking blue light, things like that. Yeah. But just take what you can, and if you have more time during the night, 100% do all of them. See what you like. Exactly. It's taking what you can and understanding that these are only going to help you. Yep. In that if you do this, it's not to say that all your problems will go away, but no. But it'll help. I mean, literally it's going to help, like we've been saying the whole time. Yeah, exactly. So ways that I've started to implement this, for example, we mentioned the walk. Yes. An easy example, this would be maybe walking, before the sunset or during sunset as a break. It's only 5 to 10 minutes that you really need. So take a 5 to 10 minute break. Because you're still working through sunset. Exactly. Normally. Just walking outside or just standing. Just stand outside. To do that. It was so sad. Yeah, I just did that to get sunlight, honestly. He was like, I haven't gone outside all day. And I'm like, okay, go on the porch. Go step out there. But yes, that's a great idea. Taking a quick 5 to 10 minute break before around, when does the sunset here now? 8:30? I think 8:30, 8:40. Yeah. But it's also a really good time for us to talk and just not be
distracted by work, or like I'm getting ready for bed, he's still working. So it's a great time for the both of us.
Exactly. So just take a break there, get your body, your circadian rhythm kind of in that pattern of, okay, it's time to wind down. It's time to wind down. Another thing is blue light, like glasses, what we were talking about. I have blue light glasses. I wear them not only at night, but during the day. But at night, they really do help in terms of preventing that blue light from getting into my eyes. Blackout curtains, we still use those. Even
that was a struggle to get, but we got them. We got them.
So it's just taking bits and pieces of these routines and trying to implement them as much as you can. And in terms of getting the right amount of sleep, or the correct number of hours of sleep, that's the first thing I do when I'm not busy during the week. When I have like a lighter schedule, I prioritize sleep. So that means going to bed, not watching that last episode of TV, going to bed at 9:30 or 10, keeping that same schedule of maybe waking up around that, maybe sleeping a little bit more, but you want to keep your body on a rhythm, because you want to be able to, get to a point where your body is able to say like, okay,
to do it on its own.
I wake up at this time, I go to bed at this time.
And I think it's crazy because I've seen you shift from like, okay, like I'm wired. Of course you're wired, because it's 10:30 p.m. and you've just been working all day. So you're like, okay, like let's watch TV. Like I'm ready to relax. Like let's just do this. But now you've shifted to, okay, actually this is the perfect opportunity for me to invest in my sleep and my well-being, and like just hang out with you and talk until we fall asleep in a dark room and we're ready for bed.
Another thing about getting proper sleep could be naps. I would take naps all the time in college. Just playing football, I would get very tired. We were told that naps are very good for you in terms of just kind of getting your body the proper amount of sleep that it needs. Actually, I saw something really interesting about naps. Is that, that some people, the optimal time is probably about 20 minutes, because you don't want to get into that deep REM sleep.
No.
You want to be able to just have the proper amount to be able to wake up and be like, okay,
I'm good.
My body's good to go. But for people who wake up and feel kind of groggy and feel kind of it may be a sign that you're not getting enough sleep during the night. So your body automatically kind of pushes into that deeper sleep the moment you like close your eyes and go for a nap. So you're waking up out of that deep sleep, and it's not good for your body, because you're basically doing a 20-minute nap for a full-on like 120-minute cycle.
Right. And you don't want to do it too close to bed. So a general rule we would say is like before 4 or 5 p.m.
Yeah, I would say that.
100%. And like I can't do naps, so personal preference, Justus can literally fall asleep
anywhere
he lays his head.
I can sleep. I can fall asleep right now, honestly. This bed's we're in a bed right now.
This bed is comfy. But like 100% I'll look over and Justus is out like a light in a very bright room at noon, and I'm like, what are you doing? But I can't do that, so I don't do sleeps, but I do allow myself, and
you don't do naps.
My days allow me to go to sleep at the right time, so I don't like need them. But if you need them, take them 100%.
So speaking of naps throughout the day, do we want to touch on morning routines? Because morning routines, we don't have as much in terms of sleep related.
Yeah, but your morning routine
is very important.
Pretty much almost just as important as your night routine.
We can make a whole podcast on morning routines versus like night routines, and we've debated about this, but it's important to briefly touch on morning routines as well, because they can have an important effect on just, like we said before, that circadian rhythm, moving to more of that alertness, that awake, to help you throughout the day to be more awake and alert, and then to kind of help also with that winding down cycle as well. So you want to keep, it's a cycle.
Yes, 100%. So Justus, I'm going to throw you under the bus for a second, but since we've been married, one toxic trait I have picked up one toxic trait I have picked up from my beloved husband is hitting the freaking snooze button.
Oh man,
is correct. I am the girl who hears an alarm and I'm out of bed. I'm ready to go.
I'm the guy who sets an alarm for 5:05, 5:10, 5:15, 5:20, 5:25. It
drives me crazy. So I did some research because I'm like, no way this is healthy for you. And you know how your phone listens to you, so it like popped up this neuroscience study, and I was like, Justus, look at this. Okay, anyways, man. So do not hit snooze. Okay, rule number 1, don't do it. Literally do not hit snooze.
Why not?
Because if you are hitting snooze in those 9 minutes of snoozing, you're not getting proper sleep. Your body is not falling back to sleep in that REM cycle. Like you're not, it's pointless. It is pointless. And it's only going to leave you feeling groggier when you wake up. So why not just wake up when you're there? Like I understand it's really hard. All these things, you're tired, you're exhausted. It's easy to hit snooze. My rule of thumb is you wake up, and as you're reaching for the snooze button, don't let yourself roll back down into bed.
Yeah, you're essentially putting your brain, and I watched this study too. So
yes,
you're putting your brain in a state of sleep inertia. So when you're in a deep sleep and you wake up and then you hit snooze and go back to sleep for those 9 or 10 minutes, you're going similar to like a nap, I would say, if you have not been getting the proper amount of sleep, you're putting your body back into a state of deep sleep for 9 to 10 minutes, and the cycle lasts about 75 to 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're only getting a very, very small fraction of that sleep cycle, which makes you wake up feeling more and more groggy, more because when you wake up from after hitting the snooze after taking like 5 more minutes, you feel worse than you did.
100%. But yet you still do. No, you've been working on it.
I have.
You have. And so there's also a hypothesis that when you hit snooze, you're confusing the brain and you're secreting those neurochemicals that cause sleep to occur. So your body was just awoken. You're in shock. You're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then you're like, oh, snooze. And then you try to produce those neurochemicals that are like, okay, it's time to sleep again. And then you do it 9 minutes later. Your body is so confused. You're only doing yourself more harm than good. And you need to get up. Like you set an alarm for early. So just wake up.
Exactly.
If you need to. But yeah, sorry. It's okay. You're working on it.
I am. And I'll get better. I hope.
I got up this morning at the sound of my alarm. I heard those birds chirping and I was like, time to get up.
And I did too.
You did.
Sometimes, and I don't know if this may help somebody, but for me, it's like a real shock if I just like get straight out of bed. Okay, there's like a slippery slope to this because if you stay in bed for too long, then you might end up falling asleep again. But I like to take maybe like 15 to 20 seconds of just like having my eyes open.
I thought you were about to say minutes. I was like,
no,
what
15
are
to
you
20 seconds of like having my eyes open and just like looking around. And
that's
like,
the key. Keep your eyes open.
Like making sure like while like maintaining, like making sure my eyes are open, but just like staying in bed.
Ooh, throw the sheets off of you. If you throw all the sheets off of you, you're cold, you're uncomfortable, and then you're like, I guess I have to get out of bed.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's smart. Cause I'm a rare breed. All my friends are like literally, why do you wake up immediately? Like all my friends in college were like, are you okay? Because no one does this.
That's what I aspire towards.
Well, thank you. We're working on it. Maybe I'll start to rub off on you instead of the other way around because no more snooze.
No more snooze. So another thing to help with your morning routine is getting the proper light in the morning, similar to kind of what we talked about before about getting the proper light at night. It's important to in getting the proper light in the morning to optimize alertness. So what we were talking about in terms of the neurons in your eyes, nervous system, knowing the quality of light when the sun is low in the sky, so sunset or sunrise.
Yep.
Those neurons respond best to the mix of yellow and blue light that the sun provides in the morning.
Absolutely.
To help signal your circadian clock that it's time to wake up.
And it's really cool because it's also spiking your natural cortisol levels, which is what you want. And normally people spike that with caffeine, which we'll talk about in a second. Exactly. But it's really cool because it's also producing serotonin and dopamine and cortisol, which is exactly what you want to wake up in the morning because you want to feel good and all these good things. So get out there, get some natural sun. Yeah.
So when you wake up in the morning, like, and you could wake up before sunset, go for a walk kind of during that 1 hour window when the sun is rising, or just standing outside like we said before. But for those of you who wake up past that time or may sleep in a little bit more, there are other methods. Of course, obviously the sun is the best way to do that, but there are other methods, and you have the Hatch as one of those methods.
I love my Hatch so much.
What is the Hatch?
Yeah, the Hatch is just that alarm that it has so many light options. It has so many sound options. And you can have a membership to like give you more and has like meditations and stuff to help you fall asleep. So if you really struggle with sleep, definitely get a Hatch, like try meditations, things like that. But I have it set to where in the morning it wakes me up to like, I think I have it set for 20 minutes of like a gradual sunrise. So it's implementing a sunrise in the bedroom.
So it's like the artificial light of sunrise. And obviously you want actual sunlight, but if you can't get that, having that artificial sunlight to replicate it can also be a very good thing for you as well.
Right. And so I'm like, and the birds are chirping. So it's a very happy, slow rise for me, which I love, and it puts me in a good mood. So then I go brush my teeth and then I really try to go outside. I just step outside to get the natural light on my eyes. So all the good things. We love the Hatch. We're going to get Justus one, hopefully, because that alarm, I can't do it anymore. He turns it all the way up.
And it's like the atomic bomb sound on...
gosh. Atomic bomb?
I think that was the name.
About?
That was the name of the sound.
Serious?
Yeah, or something.
It sounds like one. Yeah. Jeez Louise. Okay, anyway, so this is one thing I will wrap myself out for is consuming caffeine in the morning. So I'm talking about cortisol, natural cortisol, because we all produce it. It's natural, and you want to get it through the sun, and you want to be fully awake because you don't want to use caffeine to be your fake cortisol because it is spiking it so intensely in the morning if you drink it. So it is recommended that there's a sweet 90 to 120
That's
minutes.
a long time.
That is a long time. You're supposed to wait
by that
90
point,
to
you're
120
awake.
minutes. Exactly. That's the point.
That's
Your
the
body
point.
naturally woke you up instead
Yeah.
of depending on caffeine. I have this weird issue where if I eat breakfast and then I want coffee, it has to be iced, and I don't enjoy a warm cup of coffee or anything like that. So I don't know. I'm working on it. It's not going well.
You can just
But-
try to see how it feels, you know?
And I've done it before. Okay, my go-to, what I would love to do is wake up, get outside, do a little walk, and then go immediately to a workout class or go to the gym and then come back and do my coffee. Because I
Yeah.
used to do that when I was home and I had a set schedule of yoga every morning. And then I was like, this is great. I'm awake. I never had the afternoon crash. That is the thing. It is researched how not having a natural spike of cortisol, so drinking caffeine early in the morning, you will have a lag at 3 p.m.
Oh,
you will
yeah.
hit that crash.
And I felt that too, even with pre-workout.
Yes.
You have a huge crash at
Any
3 in
caffeine.
the afternoon, any caffeine.
Yeah.
So I think for me, partly, obviously I don't do my quiet time just for that, but I don't think it's 90 to 120 minutes, but
Right.
just kind of spacing out, giving my body more time to wake up and stuff. The closer you can get, strive to get that. That
Right.
doesn't mean that you can always get that, but kind of striving to separate the time between when you consume anything caffeinated for when you wake up is a good thing.
For sure. And don't be hard on yourself if you did it for 30 minutes this morning and then 10 minutes the next morning.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're just saying things that don't be hard on yourself. We're just giving suggestions and things like that.
But don't consume caffeine too late because, as we
Yeah.
mentioned before, it's an adenosine receptor blocker,
Yeah.
so it can ruin your
Your
circadian rhythm.
And guys, my dad, we need to do a study on him. He is a different breed. He will order espresso, 4 shots of espresso at dinner.
Yeah, he'll drink it,
Come home
and then
and fall
he'll go to
asleep.
bed as soon as we get back. Wake up at 2 a.m. His sleep schedule is crazy.
We need to get him on the podcast, talk about sleep, because I think he has 10 cups of coffee before
Yeah.
work. And
getting
from
right.
a gut health perspective of caffeine, if you have it on an empty stomach,
Yeah.
it's not good for you. It's not good for your stomach lining. It's not good for your heart. So I need to just, listen to what I'm preaching right now because I don't follow those things at all. But yeah, those are some of the tips and tricks that we have.
Yeah.
And anything else that we need to say?
I think those are the main ones. Obviously, there's so much more we
So
didn't
much.
cover. And we may be covering these in later episodes down the line,
Yeah.
so be on the lookout for that. But
sure.
yeah, other than that,
We're good.
you
We're
want to
good
go to
to
bed
go.
now? We're already in bed.
No,
Let's go to
it's
sleep.
literally 3 p.m. and we're going to dinner tonight. So we will not be going to sleep right now. But thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
As always, we love you guys. Thank you for continuing to keep up with us. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed our new layout because it's
Yeah.
a little something different. But yeah.
Who knows where we'll be next week?
Oh, man. Who knows?
Tune in to find out.
Interesting. Tune in. Okay, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.